toy fans, welcome to another podcast of the Toy Lines podcast. I'm Tom Romero. Ian is off right now, but we have a special guest with us, or special co-host with us, Mr. Scott Toy Guru Neitlich. How you doing, Scott?
Woohoo! I've been elevated from guest to guest co-host. I think that's the first time I've ever done this, actually. I've never co-hosted a podcast.
Nice. If you don't know, and if you don't know, you're probably under a rock. Scott used to be the brand manager for most or some of the best Mattel toy lines out there. He's done Masters of the Universe Classics, DC Classics, Green Lanterns movie. The man is this is where I'm getting my toy PhD from all his YouTube videos. So I highly recommend Googling Spectre Creative and watching all his masterful videos. How you doing, Scott?
Every video people must watch, like all 400.
That's what I'm saying. I've learned so much from your videos. I'm ready for my toy PhD.
Honestly, it started just because of the whole COVID thing. And like with the lockdown, I was looking for something just fun to do, that I could do from home. And I'm a big YouTube and podcast listener, YouTube watcher. Which hopefully everyone is watching Toy Lines from their YouTube channel and are subscribing, because that's very important, because it helps get YouTube, it tells YouTube to share this Toy Lines podcast with other people. That's what subscriptions do. It's all about the YouTube algorithm. But it just started as something to do. But I realized from watching so many, most of the YouTube content about toys falls into two categories. It's either people reviewing a toy that's already out, or they got an early sample of, or giving the history of a toy line like, Food Fighters or Strawberry Shortcake or something. And since I have that unique background of both working in the toy industry, but I'm also a collector, that I see so many people discussing things online that I'm like, no, like but you don't, like, let me explain the why. Because toy companies don't usually do that, because I don't know, they just don't. So that's kind of the whole point of the Spectre Creative YouTube channel, is to give a little insight into why things happen in the toy industry.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're revealing secrets, that stuff that we've never known about the inside workings of an actual toy company. And now you also do Masters of the Universe Classics commentary, which I love. Your recent one focused on He-Man's rights reverting back to Universal. So first off, I may have forgotten this. How exactly did Mattel lose the rights? And when does it officially revert back to Universal? Is it next year or the year after?
Well, just to codify that, and with your previous statement about, revealing secrets, absolutely, it depends on what your definition of is, right? So to us, these are secrets, and in no way am I ever giving away proprietary information on any one toy company. I've worked for quite a few, not just Mattel. Most of what I'm talking about are things that apply to the industry as a whole, or they're publicly accessible. So I just want to make sure to caveat that like, no way is this, top secret information that, like, I'm not supposed to be giving out. I'm just trying to bring to light things that are out there. So that's a perfect question falling in that line. So, and this is all, you could find this by reading Mattel analyst reports and stock reports going back 20 years. I just sort of sift through them for you, so you don't have to do that. And the short version is, in the 90s, Mattel sold off what started as the entertainment rights for He-Man. So that included cartoons, live action, puppet shows, comic books, that kind of thing. And then eventually sold off all of the rights, but what they kept was first pass toy rights, which means if the owner, and the owner has changed hands many times. There's actually a video about this. If you Google who owns Masters of the Universe, my video, essentially it started with Hallmark, which was bought by Entertainment Rights, which was bought by Classic Media, which was bought by DreamWorks, which was bought by Universal. So Universal now owns the entertainment rights, except for the live action rights, which are with Sony, which will expire once Sony stops working on it. And they've almost kind of perpetually worked on it to keep the rights, kind of like what happened with that Fantastic Four movie snuff, years ago with the Roger Corman movie that was made just to keep the rights. So basically the rights were sold off in the 90s because at the time it was considered a dead brand. Just like if Mattel, was going to sell off the rights to, Pulsar or Major Matt Mason or something, like, these toys haven't been at market in years, although those are coming back and we can get to that.
Right.
So it was considered a dead brand. Mattel had a bad year and needed revenue. So they looked in their portfolio to see what they had that they could offload. And they offloaded Masters. And so the way the deal works, and again, go through Mattel stock, analyst reports. They're publicly available. I'm not making this stuff up. So the owner, which is now Universal through acquisitions, regains toy rights in 2023. Okay. So that means Mattel has the first rights to make a toy until then. Look at what would happen with Super 7. Once Mattel said, no, we're not going to make 6-inch figures, then Universal can go to anyone and say, okay, Mattel has passed. Now we're accepting bids.
Right.
And that's actually part of the reason why there's so much Motu at retail right now. You've got Origins and you've got Fisher Price and Imagine X and Masterverse and the new CGI show and Mega Bloks. It just goes on and on, because if Mattel passes on any of these, then Universal can, like if Mattel said, no, we're not going to make, toddler toys, the Fisher Price. Right, so then Universal can say, okay, the toddler category. So by doing all of these categories, it locks in Mattel as the toy manufacturer for that category. And you can split up a brand like in a gazillion categories, So in 2023, Mattel would have to pitch for the brand just like any other company, or Universal could just say, hey, keep going with it. You're doing a fine job, and not disturb them. But at that point, Universal owns everything.
Wow, that's incredible. A little bit of feedback. There we go. All right, much better. Yeah, that's incredible. I'm just astounded that, could you picture a He-Man under like a Hasbro license? It's crazy.
Honestly, it was weird enough to me to see Super 7 on the packaging after working on it. But yeah, technically, if you will, as Spock says, by the book, it could go to Hasbro, McFarlane, Jax, Spin Master, anybody could pitch for it. Universal could also say, like, we like what, this brand is associated with Mattel. We're going to keep going with them. It doesn't mean they're going to yank the rights. It just means they have now the ability to.
Right. But enough about Mattel. Hasbro Fest was this weekend, and they announced quite a bit from Fortnite all the way through the new G.I. Joe movie. But first, let's catch up a little bit. We were gone last week, so there was some interesting news that happened while we were away. April O'Neil, the 1990 movie figure based on the likeness of actress Judith Hoag, was created. At least her videos are starting and will continue out throughout the month of April. Now, Scott, do you collect NECA products?
I do have some. You could see, there we go. My finger pointing to that Marty McFly behind me.
Oh, okay.
You can kind of see that. So yes, no, I do have some NECA product. Mostly it's one, the scale is a little bit, I'm a 6-inch collector.
Right.
And NECA stuff tends to be a little bit bigger. But Marty's that's the only one we've gotten. I do have a lot of NECA's Alien figures because I have all of the Space Marines.
Oh, cool.
Stuff like that. So I do, and I know Randy Falk from the industry, great guy. I do really enjoy what NECA does.
Oh, and definitely.
Yeah, it's great that they're doing. I love that the first Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So is Ralph's sigh in her purse?
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. I don't think on this first sculpt. Now, something like this. Now, since you've been in the toy industry, there was a camera of some sort where you can capture like photorealistic to make the mold even more accurate. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
true?
Digital scanning. Yeah, Gentle Giant does that.
Oh,
They actually do that. Gentle Giant does all the scanning for Hasbro.
oh, cool.
So like all those Marvel Legends we're getting and Star Wars figures that are looking more and more photoreal is because they do scan. They now do computer generated sculpts where they'll scan the actor. And in the case of Peter Cushing, his death mask, and make a more accurate figure.
Wow, that's excellent. That must be time consuming though, right? Getting the actor and then just scanning, and it must be an expensive process, I'd imagine as well.
Um, I've been to Gentle Giant and I've seen their machine. It's like, I mean, it kind of looks like something out of like Total Recall or something, where like the person like sits there and it's like goes up and down and stuff. I mean, I imagine it was costly at purchase, but it's probably paid off with all of the like they basically pride themselves on having a top of the industry 3D scan. They do Mattel's WWE as well.
Oh, okay.
Scan. So yeah, I mean, a lot of companies use Gentle Giant basically has like the scanner, and so a lot of companies use them to get the best, most accurate sculpts.
Funny that you mentioned that because Mattel has announced Wave 7 of the Masters of the WWE. Right now we have Andre the Giant. He looks like Titus. And then I guess a battle armored Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that's great that they did. It was tight. Oh, that's and Clam Champ.
Yeah, yeah. Junkyard Dog. I believe he's got a bit of Spike Ord in there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Like his armor.
like a combo Spike Ore and Clam Champ. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And then here's one of my favorites, Sergeant Slaughter as Man at Arms.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the star right in the corner there and the green deco. And then
this is a great. Oh, sorry, go on.
I believe that's Bret Michaels as Triclops.
I'll buy that. Yep.
And then he also comes with different shades.
Oh, they did the eyes as his different glasses. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's really cool. The people doing WWE at Mattel are definitely some of the more passionate, knowledgeable toy makers that are also fans. Most of the people on WWE are also big WWE fans.
Nice.
So like you could see that. I mean that the idea of doing the glasses as Triclops visor, that can only come from someone who's a fan right there. That's great.
Definitely.
Yeah, those are the kind of details that just are so much fun.
Definitely. And then other news from Super 7, they're coming out with a Rita Repulsa reaction figure for their Power Rangers line. And Entertainment Earth has announced a Ninja Turtles exclusive Mutagen Man that glows in the dark and is available for pre-order right now.
Yep, that's even though I know he's the Hasbro buyer, Adam Paulus, who works for Entertainment Earth and is a very good friend of mine, he loves glow in the dark. And you'll note that Entertainment Earth tends to get a lot of glow in the dark exclusives. They had a Nosferatu, they had Toxic Avenger. It shows up disproportionately at Entertainment Earth are glow in the dark variants. So
nice.
Yep, that's because Adam is like a glow in the dark aficionado. He loves it.
And now switching gears, we're gonna circle back to the 80s at Super 7 with Gem and Pizzazz reaction figures.
Nice.
Now these are interesting.
How do you keep up? Like if I didn't listen to your podcast, and I know I'm like co-hosting it, I would not know about this stuff. Like I try so hard to keep up on what's going on with like fan sites, but not. This is the first time I've heard of almost any of this stuff. Like bravo to the way you're able to keep up on this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate. Everyone's sending us their press releases through Toy Lines. So
That's great. Yeah, that's yeah. You can see there's a gem. Can you see her in my background?
Yep.
She's back there somewhere. I got her. Yeah.
Well, Scott, you're totally outrageous, I guess. But let's circle back to He-Man. So Mondo just released this teaser. Looks like a 1/16 Keldor.
Yeah, the vial of acid gives it away every time. We use that as a teaser for classics. We just showed the vial.
And I love that Hordax in the background. Now, that is a figure I can't wait to get. He's supposed to come in 2 versions, though. He's going to come in Filmation colors and then his action figure vintage colors.
Hey, if you can redeco it, man, the savings on tooling is ridiculous.
Oh, I can imagine.
Anytime you can legitimately release a figure in a new deco, no tooling, you're making money.
And speaking of making money, they're going to make a ton on this beautiful statue right here of Teela from Tweeterhead. Now, I've said this before. For me, for some reason, Tweeterhead either knocks it out of the park or just misses it completely. But this Teela statue, gorgeous. They've really outdone themselves with this. And I love the customization options. Like you can get longer hair, Staff of Ka, sword. I mean, this thing is beautiful.
I was like, are those 2 different heads? Yeah, they are. I get. I see. They're all actually from the same exact angle. Now that I look at it with the different head, I thought we were looking at spinning shots, but now I realize yes, we're looking at 4 images of her from the same angle, but just replacing the staff with the sword and the 2 different heads.
Right, and then I believe that's a piece of Castle Grayskull base she has on, or she's standing on.
Yeah. I mean, it's got some teeth, so maybe it's like part of the jaw bridge or something, or who knows. Right.
Yep, and all this beauty can be yours for $475, up for pre-order right now on Big Bad Toy Store.
Very nice.
And so, are you familiar with California reopening right now? Because it has been announced that the Avengers Campus will open on June 4th at Disney California Adventure.
So I'm a recent refugee from California, having been there for 25 years. Now I'm in North Carolina, but I grew up in Orange County, and everyone in my high school had a season pass to Disneyland because it was 20 minutes from my high school. And back then you can get a season pass for $99 for the whole year.
Wow.
I know, which is crazy because it's like, well over $1,000 now. And that was for the premium pass that got you parking and discounts and 365 access. So you would go to Disneyland on the weekend and you see like everybody from your math class there.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So that's my old stomping ground. I know exactly where that is in downtown Disney. And where did you say it's in California Adventure?
Yes.
Yeah. So boy, they need more stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Now, speaking of California, yesterday, Powercon, which will take place in Anaheim on September 11th and 12th, just opened up their hotel block. Will you be attending, Scott?
If I'm invited as a guest, I will go. Going on my own, just for logistical reasons. When I was in California, Powercon was, just a drive down the street, but now it's flying across the country kind of thing. And with, a wife and daughter and, all my stuff here, it's harder to get away when it's not for business purposes.
Gotcha. So. Well, if you are attending PowerCon, the hotel block, the discounted hotel block, has opened up yesterday and rooms are going fast. So if you are planning on attending, you should take advantage while you can. I believe
highly recommend it to people just because I may not be able to get there. I mean, I've been many, many years. It is, if you're a He-Man fan, it's amazing because it's like everyone is there for love of the brand, and it gets bigger. Like it really has gotten like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, the sales floor alone is like spilling out now into the hall. It's fun. I always have a great time.
Yeah, and one of the best things about it is you get to meet people that you have never seen, but somehow you communicate on the org. Like I met these guys from Mexico, Cueva del Beastman. greatest bunch of guys you can ever meet. I mean, they were. It's very interesting how you see a toy you grew up with, but kind of like in a different light, just because they were they were collected in different parts of the world. So it really is an eye opener as well. And then this was also teased from Super 7. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this is the bottom of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles van. Now, that's exciting, especially after the success of the Thunder Tank. Which also reminds me, since I have you, why didn't Classics ever come out with a attack track? Was it just the tooling costs, or just it never...
Oh, it was just hadn't gotten to it yet. I mean,
okay.
We were basically at the point that we were doing one vehicle a year, and I think the attack track, the Road Ripper, and Land Shark, and the Dragon Walker were all sort of like in the pool of next. But then, when the license got passed off to Super, like sort of that. One of the things about Mattel, and I'm sure Hasbro too, is toy lines tend to be very templated.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, so like let's say a line is 12 figures, a vehicle, and a playset. It's really easy to do the same, like that exact same thing the following year. So because we had a vehicle now working and baked into the architecture of the line, it was getting easier and easier. That's why we went like, Talon Fighter to Roton, et cetera. But so, yeah, I mean, it was, if I had stayed, or if someone at Mattel jumped into the driver's seat for the attack track, it would have happened.
Yeah, because I saw the tooling they were doing. I mean, each individual piece on the attack track, I mean, that must be in the millions just tooling alone.
I mean, the vehicle, I wouldn't put, I mean, Castle Grayskull was $500,000.
Wow.
So I don't think the attack track would be that much. I mean, the wheels might not work in that like up and down way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I'm totally, it's like it never made it beyond discussions. Like it never even made it on a piece of paper.
Wow.
But, the vehicles always tended to do what they needed to do. And,
right. So, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, Rick and Morty Season 5 will premiere in June. And
yeah, that was quick. We usually have to wait like years.
Yeah, June 20th.
Yeah, I am definitely Szechuan sauce excited.
Nice. Okay, so that takes care of all the stuff we catched up on. I know we missed a lot, but we'll circle around if it's important. So let's get into Hasbro Pulse. It was this past Friday and Thursday, and they gave us a little teaser of Domino and Cannonball from X-Force. Now, apparently, they're both going to have double joints at the elbows and knees for full articulation. Now, stuff like that, is that gets to be expensive, the double joints and things like that, or is it just, a new wave tool?
The more articulated the figure, the more expensive it is. I mean, if something like a reaction figure is or a Funko non-articulated figure, the reason Funko can do that is because there's no articulation.
Okay.
The less articulation, the cheaper it is. So, I mean, it's great that I'm looking at my my X-Force shelf here, and I am definitely with bated breath waiting for that Domino, but hopefully we'll also get Feral too, because she's now the one missing member of the original team.
Gotcha.
She's never had a toy ever.
Feral?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good to know.
So bring it on. Make it happen, Hasbro.
Now, let's get into some reveals. Now, I believe you ordered this, Scott, the HasLab Sentinel?
I did. It was my first and so far only HasLab purchased. So it's already paid for in full, which I'm glad, because now I don't have to pay. Now I don't have to save for it. It's already done. Oh, that's cool. So they're going with the house, or not the House of X. Is that right? House of X.
I believe so. Yeah.
The language from the island language there. I definitely will not be keeping it in package. I already have a spot like waiting for it right here.
Awesome.
I'm a big with Marvel Legends. Sometimes I feel like you got to pick and choose. Like if you go all in, it's like crazy. So for me, it's 90s X-Men and Spider-Man villains are my kind of this.
Very nice.
I almost did it, but I was like, oh yeah, that counts. That's absolutely, I already have a Sentinel, but this one is definitely like, this is, you just like, can't like, when you see something like this, it's like a once in a lifetime thing, like Castle Grayskull or the Sail Barge.
Right.
Like it's not going to come back. And you just have to think like, I know it's a lot of money, but is it going to make me happy for years? And
that's true. Now, when your collections, are you all in on certain lines, or are you cherry pick?
The only line that I'm 100% all in is Star Wars 3 3/4 classic trilogy, which I know maybe doesn't make me all in, but I have every single figure from the classic trilogy from 95 to, I actually just got Bespin Escape Leia the other day. So yeah, I am 100% all in on that. Every variant, every paint change, every belt change.
Wow.
I've rebought figures because I've lost accessories just to make sure my collection is complete. So that I'm all in. Marvel Legends is more of a cherry pick. Like I'll bought anyone who's an X-Men 90s character I will buy, and every Spider-Man villain I will buy. So
cool.
Never thought I'd get a Frogman or a White Rabbit, but hey.
So yeah, here is the artwork for the box coming soon. And now they've also jumped into the 1.75. Is that correct? 3.75, excuse me.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is the Marvel Legends. I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is like the reaction figures, essentially, or the retro figures for Star Wars. They're meant to, they even use the Kenner logo on packaging, which is interesting because Kenner never made Marvel figures. So these are, in my mind, basically supposed to be like, what if? Like, if Kenner made Marvel figures when they were making Star Wars and Robin Hood and all of that, how would they have done it? It definitely has a little bit of Mattel's Secret Wars feel, but
definitely
they're shorter than that. They're 3 3/4. So, and limited 5 points of articulation. It's cool. I've seen them in store actually once. I passed on them and never seen them again. But again, it's like, how many iterations of Hulk and Spider-Man do I need?
Exactly.
I like what they're doing. The fact that they put the Kenner logo on it, it's such a weird, wonderful thing because it's like they're recreating a toy that never existed.
Yes, definitely. But something like this, I'm looking at it, and for $9.99, I would just leave it on card. Like it's a beautiful display item with the artwork.
Absolutely. I think that like this and the reaction figures and the retro Star Wars line like they had for Mandalorian coming out, they did for Empire last year. That's, I wouldn't be surprised if like we see a lot more of this. It's interesting how resistant Hasbro was for years with Super 7 and Reaction doing those, not making them themselves and not sub-licensing them to a Super 7 to do. And now, like, they're finally, it was the same thing like with the vintage carded figures or the Macquarie figures. They say no, no, no for years, and then suddenly they do it and it becomes the #1 thing.
Yeah.
They seem to have a history of doing that.
So this next wave, will feature Grey Hulk, the Invisible Woman, Ant-Man, Bullseye from Daredevil, the Vision, Cyclops, and I believe, and then that leads us to our next Marvel Legends wave and the Iron Man wave. Now this is the first figure in the Iron Man wave is Modular Iron Man from the 90s. Now this wasn't really my favorite suit, but I could see why they would do it.
Yeah, the 90s is, most of us adult collectors came of age, I think, in the 90s or the 80s. Like that's like when we were teenagers. Like reaching for my mine. I know this is a video, and unless you're watching on YouTube, but here's my. I'm holding up a Iron Man from the early Hasbro days. This was like the legendary Heroes line where he had like the giant boots.
Oh, okay.
This was my Iron, like in the 90s. This is the one I remembered, and that's why I bought this one. This one, I like it must have been after I finished reading Marvel comics and like moved on. So, okay. But I get it, for 90s fans, great. And we haven't had an Iron Man themed Marvel Legends wave since I think like Iron Man 3.
Wow. Okay.
That was like the last wave of Marvel Legends before they converted to the black boxes.
Oh, right.
You had to build a figure of Ironmonger, the comic book version, and it had like an Ultron that was just not good, and some other Iron Man variants. But yeah, it's amazing how we have not had an Iron Man. This is the second Iron Man wave ever.
Wow. Now, what's your favorite Iron Man suit of armor? Is it that one, or are you a fan of a different color?
Is the Silver Centurion armor.
Nice.
Which is because my very first comic book ever was, I'm looking up at it, Iron Man 203.
Okay.
That actual, like that, not like a rebuy, but I have that actual comic. It was sent to me at summer camp by my grandfather, literally from a box in his basement. I know that sounds like a stereotypical, like, movie thing, but that really happened. And that was my first ever comic book. And I remember vividly, there was a panel where Tony is flying in his Silver Centurion armor, and he's talking about, he's going on like a date with someone, not Pepper, and talking about how he has butterflies in his stomach, just like if he was in junior high. And I was a little bit younger than junior high, but it made me think like, wow, like if a superhero can feel this way about a girl, that's just like me. Like, that's the way I feel about girls. Or dating, whatever. So I found it very relatable, and that's why I've always loved Silver Centurion armor.
Nice. Yeah, that's my favorite. I just love the design of it with the wings on the side, on his shoulders and stuff. But I do also like the black and gold version.
I've heard that come up a lot. The colors pop a lot.
Yes, definitely. It's very, believe it, I mean, in my opinion, very toyetic. I mean, I think there's only, I know they've made a statue of it, and then I think maybe Marvel Legends had one, but I would like to see more of that color scheme.
I'm sure with the popularity of the Iron Man, like this one, the stealth armor you just threw up on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. This is another favorite, but I don't believe he made too many appearances in the comic, the stealth.
Yeah, not too much. He had, was it issue 295, 296, something like that.
Wow.
Is a very famous cover where all of the Iron Man armors are coming at you,
right?
Including the stealth armor. That was pretty cool too.
So the stealth armor comes with a swappable head of Tony Stark, 2 different hands, and some blast effects.
Yep, your standard Iron Man blast effects that we've gotten 1,000 times now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've known people with like boxes of just effects.
I stopped sorting my accessories by brand.
Okay.
And I now sort them in baggies by what they are. So I've got effects, heads, hands, guns, swords, like bow and arrows, clubs. Like that way, if I need something, I can easily find it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yes, I have a bag of effects, magical effects and blast effects.
And then Hologram Iron Man. Not too many people online are excited about this figure for some reason. I actually think it looks cool. I mean, the blue really pops.
Yeah, I think, part of it is just, it's like an easy repaint, if you will, and it can tend to look cheap. It's totally canon.
Right.
I mean, I love my Ghost Star Wars figures, and the hologram Star Wars figures, but, I get it. Unless you're like really an Iron Man fan, this can seem like, I don't know, like a cheap ripoff maybe. But I've made plenty of. I got the clear Hordak back there, so it's like.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's actually a cool character though. I'm not saying Iron Man isn't, but like a see-through Hordak, it made sense.
Doesn't this though make just as much sense? I mean, this is. There you go.
Like, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you have to be like a real all-in hardcore Iron Man fan for this. And then Ultron, which is pretty cool.
This one I think is going to be the steal the show of the wave, because this is by far the best 6-inch Ultron we've ever gotten. Hasbro's really hitting a stride with the iconic villains lately.
Definitely. And I love the Kirby crackle that fits right into his mouth.
Yeah, that is absolutely
that's some great detail right there.
And I think he's fully sculpted, unless he uses some arms and leg pieces from like an Iron Man. He's definitely got a lot of new parts.
Possibly. Yeah, like the torso I've never seen before, or even the stomach area. But I mean, the hands do remind me of other Iron Man parts, and I think maybe even Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some upper arm, lower leg reuse there, but he definitely has enough new parts to make him look, shiny.
Definitely. And then Ironheart, a recent arrival in the Marvel Universe, comes with a bunch of accessories: swappable head, 2 hands, blast effects, and I believe this is like smoke.
Like is that from like a Black Widow figure? I don't think, are those original for her?
Yes, I've never seen these before.
Yeah, those definitely look. I love the effects are so cool that they've been doing.
Yeah, and I love the head sculpt. Like they really had some attention and detail when they came to her hair. Like I like how it's just off the side. And
there you go. There's how to use the smoke effect there. So yeah, for those listening in the car, this is an image of Ironheart shooting a blast out of her hand, and then the smoke is curled around the top part of her hand, continuing down the blast effect. So that's how she's posed.
Then here's a new arrival. Now, this character I'm not too familiar with, Dark Star. Now, I remember the Dark Star is from DC Comics, but she's brand new. I've never seen her before. But it looks like she uses a lot of the same parts as the Firestorm.
Yeah, basically your standard female buck at this point. Which is, that's...
Or even the Marvel Legends Invisible Woman.
Yep, that's great. That's one of the great things about superheroes is so many of them are just in tight outfits, without much, additional, what's called, in the industry, they call it the silhouette.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of kids actually look at, especially with cars. So with so many of these figures, they have the exact same silhouette. They just need a new head. And it makes it much more economical.
Nice. And then here's something: the Build-A-Figure Ursula Major. And this is a bear I'm totally not familiar with. He must have been.
It's from the Winter Soldier story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was really taken aback when I was like, oh my gosh, it's a super articulated grizzly bear. Like that alone is like, wow. Like, am I gonna have to buy this whole wave? Like, I'm not really into this character, but just seeing visually, it's a super articulated grizzly bear. Like, there's so many funny things you could do with this. From having hobbits ride him to having him hold the Joker's fish. Like, it just feels like there's the humor value alone in having a super articulated grizzly bear is worth the price of admission.
Oh, definitely. It's ideas like that made me purchase the 4 Horsemen moose from Mythic Legions.
Yeah, I remember when you talking about that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't yet thrown down. I only bought. Actually, we haven't gotten to the one figure in this wave that I did buy. Which is maybe it's after the. Nope. Oh no, it's the Guardsmen.
Oh shoot!
So there
in here somewhere.
So the other figure in this wave is the Vault Guardsmen in their traditional green armor. Very 1980s, very 1990s look. Sorry to make you like
Nope, that's fine.
drastically look for it. Um,
I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually already pre-ordered 2. So
Wow. There we
they
go.
labeled him on the back of the package as an enemy of Iron Man. I don't know if maybe I'm just not familiar with that. Oh, there he is.
Yep.
For those of you, again, in the car not watching the YouTube, so he's now on screen with the right arm of the giant bear. So he's got 2 closed fists, 2 open fists, and a blaster that I think is a reissue of the blaster with Stiltman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've always loved the Guardsmen. Like whenever they show up to escort, Venom or whoever off. But on the back of the package, they call him an enemy of Iron Man, which maybe I'm not familiar with that storyline, but I never saw him as one of Iron Man's bad guys.
Yeah, that's weird. I do remember reading about it. It was an issue where like somebody was able to actually deactivate the guardsmen and they all just dropped.
Well, I bought him because he's a Guardsman and because you can pose him next to like any Marvel supervillain and like,
oh yeah,
cool. So that's why I had to have 2 because they're like the Marvel version of a super cop.
yeah. Build a fake or army builders.
Yeah.
So this wave will be available in the summer, $22.99 per figure.
Price hit, price increase. Ding, ding, ding.
Well, isn't it true that a lot of places are increasing prices now because of the cost of plastics?
Plastics and more so labor has
okay.
really skyrocketing. So yeah, I did a video on the Spectre Creative YouTube channel, shameless plug, at the very end of 2020, like in December, sort of giving my predictions. And one of them was that I was shocked that Marvel Legends and Black Series hadn't increased in price yet. They'd held their price for years. And so I was like, there's no way they're not going to go up in the following year. I thought they were going to go up to $24.99. But
really?
Hey, for $22.99, I'm glad I have 90% of the Marvel Legends I already want. So I don't know, make me purchase a bear, Hasbro.
Yeah, definitely. Infinity Saga Thor, or as I'm quoting him, Overweight Thor, who will come with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, $24.99, and will be released this fall.
Yeah, so he's not part of a wave. He's just an online exclusive single. Right. This is Thor from the final battle of Endgame.
Yes, and you know what? I'm glad they're starting to do more figures like this. I mean, granted, it's nice to see like a muscular He-Man type, but every now and then, it's a nice reminder that you could be a hero too.
Frogman.
There you go. So yeah, with Infinity Saga Thor will come with lightning effects, 2 sets of hands, and his famous weapons.
And it looks like they're molded in clear blue plastic with the handles painted brown, so you get like a light up effect on the axe part and the hammer part, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about lightning effects? Like, is it really necessary? Because this is something that's only come out recently, like, maybe past 5 years.
Well, I think I bank lightning effects with all these things, the blast effects, the smoke effects. Kids are going to lose these pieces in 2 seconds.
Right.
They're not going to care. They just want Thor. But for collectors who pose them on shelf, I have all of my figures that come with blast effects. In fact, I gave my Marvel Legends Pyro from the Rogue 2-pack. I gave him the fire effects from my Doctor Strange, the SFX, I'm butchering the expensive ones from Japan. Why am I drawing a blank? At the name of the series. The $99 action figures they sell in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
AFX?
Figwarts or...
Yeah, Figure Arts. Figure Arts. There we go. So I have the Figure Arts Doctor Strange, who came with, for reasons, all these flame effects must have gotten cut from the movie. And so I gave them to my Marvel Legends Pyro, and he looks even cooler. So
nice.
I like the effects for display, but for kids, they're not going to care. They're going to lose these things in 2 seconds.
Yeah, there's definitely no playability. And now here was something: the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange himself, $49.99 fall.
Yeah, another prop replica. Big. I mean, I'm a big fan of these. I was a big proponent of doing these when I was at Mattel with things like Ghostbusters and the hoverboard from Back to the Future. It's basically collector level costumes, or cosplay,
Right.
if you will, which is great. I mean, I think they're really embracing that emerging market. And, I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. Is the only $100 Fig Arts figure. Oh, he comes with the Infinity Stone that's removable. Oh, man. $40, you said? $49.99?
$49.99, yep.
All right. Better see if it's available on Amazon with free shipping. Damn, it has a removable Infinity Stone. Hot damn. I have the
gauntlet?
Not the gauntlet, but I have the cube.
Okay.
From Comic-Con, but there's no removable stone in that one. But I love just like sometimes when I have meetings with clients, I'll turn it on and put it in the background, and
that's awesome.
They're pulsating, and yeah, I love these things. These are great.
And then we mentioned this before: a Walgreens exclusive Quasar.
Yep, the late Captain Marvel's replacement with the quantum bands.
Yep. Now, his name was Wendell. He died in the comic series, correct?
Captain Marvel?
No, Quasar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is like the 90s version.
Right,
this is straight out of Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Well, that's weird that they gave him like the flame effects. That's not really like the way he blasts, but hey, it's all good.
Yeah. And let's get into Star Wars.
That doesn't look like Star Wars. That looks like Oh, that's your desktop. His desktop is Ninja Turtles from The Last Ronin, it looks like.
Yes, definitely. A book everyone should be reading right now. So let's.
I actually bought the first issue because of your you're talking about it. So you got me to buy it.
So good. The Last Ronin. Have you seen the director's cut? Incredible.
No, I've heard. Is it out yet?
Yes. Some stuff I didn't agree with, and I'm glad they didn't go that direction. Like there was a whole subplot about Raphael attacking Splinter. I'm glad they didn't go in that direction. But yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I don't usually buy Ninja Turtle comics.
Oh, okay. So from the Black series, I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm just saying, though I do have some of the old Eastman and Laird stuff, like their early work is great. But anyway, Black series.
Yeah. So from Star Wars Black series, they've announced Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Lando Calrissian.
Complete with his little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about soft goods? A lot of that's starting to make a big intro into collecting.
I like them when they're both A, consistent, and B, needed. With Star Wars, I think they're very much needed. I have the 6-inch Mandalorian in Beskar armor behind me with his jetpack, and you can't pose the darn thing because the jetpack and the plastic cape get in the way. Versus if he had a soft goods cape, it would be so much more posable. And Star Wars seems to be all over the map. Like, sometimes like General or Director Krennic had, a hard cape, but Darth Vader and the Royal Guards have a soft goods. Lando here has a soft goods cape. So for me, I like consistency.
Gotcha.
And I don't like that Star Wars goes both ways. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's not. I wish they would just go with soft, since for Star Wars, you need the soft goods to be able to pose the figures. So that's my thought. Says the guy who was against putting soft goods in Motu. So
really, why is that? Because of costs, or because I sometimes hear people go back and forth on the sorceress, like in order for her to actually sit in the throne room at Castle Grayskull, the wings kind of get in the way.
Um, that I mean the well with that figure, I mean that could be a whole other podcast. Just like we tried so many different ways of doing the wings, um, just to make like the way the Horsemen designed them. When it translated into a toy, it wasn't working, so they had to be redesigned. Like it's the whole concept of sculpting versus engineering. And I remember, yeah, Terry and I would spend weeks away just to get it to work. But more soft goods, thinking like things like Keldor's cape or King He-Man's cape. It would just they worked so well as plastic as PVC or PVC that I really want. Again, I just wanted consistency. I hate lines that flip flop back and forth.
Gotcha.
Just pick a style and go with it.
Makes sense. I mean, like I said, Classics was a incredibly successful line, so you did something right.
Consistency, it's important. We all have OCD. We're all, all of us collectors. We want everything to work together. So it's like, yeah, when McFarlane makes a Batman that's 1 inch too big, it's like, or my Mandalorian figure doesn't have a soft goods cape, but my Darth Vader does. It's like, ah.
And then also that was revealed to us, Kosuke Reeves from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, so that is the other female Mandalorian warrior who I had no idea what her name was until the figure came out. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing she uses a lot of parts from. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the leader of the Mandalorians with the red hair from Clone Wars? Oh yeah, just embarrassing myself. This is what happens when you do live podcasts. I keep saying Boris, but that's obviously not her name. It'll come to me in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then also from The Mandalorian, Q90.
The bug-eyed droid that belonged to Mayfeld. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Very Star Warsy.
Yeah, he looks like a really good addition. And then here was a surprise, Aura Singh.
Yeah, she's one of those weird figures that like had a cult following from episode 1 because it looked like she was going to be the new Boba Fett.
Okay.
Like she appeared in one shot watching the podcast.
Right.
I remember people even calling her Boba Fett. And then completely disappeared. I think originally she was supposed to be the bounty hunter from the beginning of Attack of the Clones. The one, Sam Wessel.
Right.
Yeah, she was like weird because like she was supposed to be like the hottest thing and then like nothing. And now here she has a Black Series figure.
Yeah, but the same could actually be said for Boba Fett. I mean, he was a character that was on the Christmas special, and then he showed up in Jedi, died, and then blew up as a character. I mean, he's everywhere now.
Well, completely, but I mean, at least he did things. Like, I mean, he managed to track Han Solo and the Falcon to Cloud City. I mean,
oh, that's right. Yep.
He actually did accomplish something. And then brought Han to Jabba's palace. I mean, yeah, he went out I guess he didn't go out because now he's, thanks to the Mandalorian, we know that the Sarlacc did find him somewhat indigestible.
And now, from the Bad Batch, starting May 4th, Tech. Now, here's one that people have been dying for because the rest of the team is already out.
Yeah, nothing like completing a team. That's what it's all about. Like not having Ferrell in X-Force. Like, you got to finish the team, and they did. Yay.
And he comes with some cool gadgets, too, or at least tools. I like the helmet.
Yeah, the helmet's very cool.
And speaking of helmets, the Hasbro Pulse team also announced the Antilles Battle Simulation Helmet.
Hey, you got a Rebel helmet in your tooling bank, and they all look the same. Why don't you repaint it as one of the another popular pilot?
Yeah. So the Black Series figures will be released this fall, $22.99 at retail, and Wedge Antilles helmet will also be released in the fall. Then, which leads us to the vintage line. It's Admiral Akbar.
You already own this figure. It's a trap.
Yeah,
Now,
that's true.
now he has Kodak Moment Deco.
And then also one of my favorites, Emperor Royal Guard. Like just like you, I learned later in life what his title was. I used to call them Red Vaders,
That makes sense.
and I love the swappable parts.
The only thing I don't like about this figure is that the helmet falls off so easily.
Oh, okay.
Like the last Imperial Royal Guard, the one that came with the Comtech, I think it was released as part of either Solo or Episode 8. First, it came in a 2-pack or 3-pack with Palpatine and Luke for Target, and then it was later released as a single in the Solo line. That figure, to me, is the perfect Royal Guard because it just stands, it holds the staff right. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. This figure cannot hold his staff. That's what bothered. It was the head, the helmet falls off, and the hand is not posed correctly to hold the pike in guard position. So I bought, when this figure first came out, I bought 6 of them because there's 6 in the movie, and I was so disappointed that he couldn't be posed on my shelf holding the darn pike. But now he's back.
Yeah. Hopefully he can now.
Oh, I doubt they change anything but the paint.
And then let's see here. And Hoth Luke Skywalker.
Yep, another figure which you already own and you can now get with Kodak Moment Deco. But interesting because when you fully assemble his headgear, you can't see the face anyway. So
that's right. Where?
Yay, photo real deco you can't see. And without the headgear, he looks weird because he doesn't have his scarf either.
Right. I was going to say that his head actually kind of looks like Rey from...
Oh, yeah, there is some of it. Because this was from like the 2 seconds of film where he has his scarf wrapped around his head. And so you can't even see the improved paint job. So, but, yay, Hoth Luke.
And then Endor Han Solo.
For the 100th time, he's back. Although, actually, my original vintage, like the first time they released this figure, which I believe was at San Diego Comic-Con as part of the Death Star Revenge of the Sith multi-pack, the one that had Salacious Crumb and the Mouse Droid as single-carded figures in the Counting series, which was crazy. But so that was the first time he was released, and that figure of mine has completely turned yellow. So I'm looking forward to replacing him. So I did rebuy this one because of that. Although you can take yellow figures and stick them in rubbing alcohol in a mason jar, a sealed mason jar full of rubbing alcohol, and place it in the sun for 3 days, and it will. Wow. So there's a little tip for you.
Wow, good to know. Like I said, I'm waiting for my PhD now. And then from the gaming greats, Jedi Fallen Order, Electro Staff Purge Trooper.
And I think this is an Entertainment Earth exclusive.
Yes.
Yep, looks cool. I don't play the video games. I mean, I do play video games, but not this one. But if you do, I bet you'll love this figure because he's got purple energy.
And then Storm Shadow from Powers of the Force.
Isn't Storm Shadow a Transformer? No, that's a G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe, yeah.
Yeah, another
Shadow Stormtrooper. Yep.
Shadow Stormtrooper. There we go.
There you go.
Another Entertainment Earth exclusive. It looks like cast in clear blue but painted over so that some of the areas come out clear and some are painted. Visually looks very cool, but again, I only collect original trilogy figures in this scale because that's my OCD.
Yeah, that's a trend I've noticed with Hasbro. They like to make everything like sparkle, especially when we talk about the metallic Power Rangers figures. And also from this line, Heavy Battle Droid from Battlefront 2.
He's not a battle droid. He's my brother. Yeah, battle droid, new colors, Entertainment Earth exclusive, I think. Still, you're right. And then,
yeah. And then Scout Troopers, again from Fallen Order.
Yeah, it's like they took all of their GameStop exclusive Black Series 6-inch and just now issued them as 3 3/4 figures.
Yeah, pretty much. And these will be $14.99 and will be available in the summer.
So it's $14.99, the new $12.99.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, see, like it's amazing how the price of 3 3/4 and 6-inch are just starting to merge, and where that price value is going to be a tricky thing for parents.
And now the Antok Merrick's X-Wing fighter,
Oh,
$99 and fall. This will be a Target exclusive.
so this is the Rogue One Blue Leader pilot from the final battle, is what we're looking at. The guy with the mustache.
Right.
For those of you listening at home, figure looks great. With Rogue One, I'm always torn with my whole OCD of the original trilogy, because it's like in the original trilogy, but it's not. With this one, it's probably going to be. I mean, especially because you guys laid out $99 for an X-wing, and I which I have. I mean, I have the X-wing already, Luke's version, but he looks great. And if you're a Rogue One fan, like this is fantastic. But this was a great reuse of the tool.
Yes, definitely. And they also mentioned that our beloved Razor Crest will be in production this summer. They just got the final, I guess, what do you call it? The final sculpt or the final product before they actually go into making the tools.
That's called the toolette model.
Toolette model. Thank you.
Or at least that's what we called it at Mattel, but I assume it's Universal. Yeah, I didn't get this one. Almost did, but then they blew it up.
Yeah. But you know what? I still have hope he's going to get it back.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously got to be more of them out there.
I believe some people say they saw one in, I want to say either Last Jedi or the
Rise of Skywalker.
Yes. No. The first one. It was just outside Maz Kanata's bar.
Oh, a Razor Crest in episode 7?
Yes. It's in the background. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Because I had also heard it shows up in that fleet battle in episode 9.
Yes. Okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking about.
But I don't know. I kind of think that it was blown up as part of the way of moving the character forward. Like he's no longer a bounty hunter, and he's now going to be like a Mandalorian, like revolutionary. But it's like the way they had to blow up Asgard.
Oh, to continue the story.
Yeah.
I still think he's going to get it back, though. I don't know. I'm being hopeful.
No, I'm not doubting your hope. I'm just, laying on my own pessimism. All right, Scorponix.
Yes. From Predacon Scorponok from Kingdom Deluxe. Now, here's something I've talked to Ian about and other Transformer collectors. All these different classes. I mean, it gets confusing after a while, doesn't it? Or if you're, really into it, you understand it. But I don't know. It just looks like, why have a subcategory for the same figure?
Yeah, it definitely, I think, confuses things a little bit. There's a lot. There's more in Transformers than there's in like any other toy line.
Right? Yeah. So Scorponok is a Kingdom Deluxe figure. Will be released in July, $22.99. Now, granted, we're taping this on a Sunday. Most of these pre-orders are already sold out right now, but I'm sure they're gonna come back eventually. Now, here's an interesting Transformer. I'm not really big. I'm a G1 guy, so these new guys are just, I don't know, just weird to me. Like Wing Finger Fossilizer, $22.99, also in July. Like I'd rather have Swoop, personally.
Yeah, if they weren't in the 86 movie, it's not a Transformer to me.
Exactly. And have you seen the 86 line? they look small to me.
Yeah, the scale is wonky.
Very much so. Yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that.
It's not that it's small. It's not. It's that more that it's not consistent.
Right. Okay.
It's like you can make figures of any scale you want. They could be 1 inch, but they should all be in scale to each other.
Exactly. And here's Trax Kingdom Deluxe, $22.99, also in July. Here's his alt mode. Now, I'm a masterpiece collector, but I don't know. They're definitely an improvement over the 80s, but there's, again, maybe it's like you said, but it just something looks off on some of these to me.
Yeah, I mean, part of it I think is the plastic over the die cast. It's got
Oh,
a
okay.
different look and feel. Yeah,
So here's Trax in flight mode. And another one. Okay.
Is that
So
Mascar's car from Mask?
yeah. Now there's a line. Now, believe it or not, I've heard somebody that was actually at a Hasbro meeting and they flat out said Mask will never succeed at retail today.
And they know this because
I don't know. And the person who told me this information was actually at that meeting. It was a whole meeting about Mask. They said it'll never work as a retail line and even less so as a movie.
I think it's because it's too close to Transformers and they don't want a competitive line out there.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. But yet, I mean, it's still the same company, though. I mean, granted, it is somewhat of a competition, but it's all going to the same person, no?
It's like yes and no. There's a lot of politics at toy companies,
Oh,
like internal politics, and sometimes they don't like creating their own competition. And even though they don't, the cars don't turn into robots, it's the same play pattern. Transformers is an interesting play pattern. I did a whole video on this on shameless plug Spectre Creative YouTube channel about the Transformers aren't action figures as much as they are 3D puzzles for kids to solve, putting them from one mode to the other. And that's really what Mask is. They are vehicles that are 3D puzzles to change from one type of vehicle to another. And that play pattern is very unique, and Transformers kind of owns it. And they may see that if they put Mask out there, it's not as much that it puts out an internal competitor, but it opens up the floodgates for other companies to start putting out other 3D puzzle transforming toys and recognize the play pattern, which they hope no one else notices.
Gotcha. And this is Kingdom Voyager class Rhinox, $24.99, also released in July.
Part of the Beast Wars. That's what my daughter named my imaginary rhino, was Rhinox. I totally forgot that was his character's name.
That's pretty cool. And now here's a figure. I hope they redo this at least for the 86 movie line. Galvatron.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I like the fact that he does come with the chain in the Matrix. Now, I've heard some people, go back and forth on the look of in his robot mode. From this angle, I kind of like it now. Like, first, we talked about this last couple of weeks ago, and it just looked stocky and weird. But at this angle, I could see it.
Yeah, I'm such a purist when it comes to Transformers. I just like, even if they can't transform and I have to buy like 2 toys, one in robot mode and one in like vehicle mode or spaceship mode, I guess, for him. I'd almost prefer that because I want it to look exactly like. I find Transformers often compromise aesthetic in order to incorporate the feature, and I find that frustrating. But I understand at the same time.
Right. Yeah, and with masterpieces, it's kind of like the opposite because most of my masterpieces would take me literally an hour just to transform.
3D puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. So I just leave him in robot mode, or
Yeah, someone
sometimes.
was transformed my masterpiece Optimus Prime into a vehicle, and I walked in the room. I was like, "Why is there a truck on that table that used to be a robot? Make that a robot again, please."
And now here's one that came out of nowhere: the Ark. Like this, I was not expected to see. And he comes with micro figures for scale, which I think is a awesome touch. And
Yeah, they would have to be tiny.
then
That's
here's
cool.
him in spaceship mode. Now, I love the figure, but here's what gets me. I don't think he needed to transform.
I
I,
didn't know he could transform.
I don't think he does. Like in
I
G1, I thought he was just stuck in the volcano, and that was it. They abandoned him.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen an image or thought about him as transforming.
Yeah, exactly. And then he also comes with Teletran 1. So
That's
for
cool.
you photographers out there. Now, he is a Kingdom Titan class Autobot Arc, and he's $149.99 in July. Now, do you think his price point is so high because he transforms?
I mean, I'm guessing he's big physically too.
Like, I think they should have just left him in, like this, and that would have been perfect for me.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, it goes into the whole like brand integrity thing of like every time they've put out non-transforming Transformers, they've done very poorly at retail. Even though that's what
Really?
I just said I want, but they don't do
God.
well because they don't. It's the play pattern. Transformers are about 3D puzzles. They're not traditional action figure play. I mean, they are also, but what makes them unique is that they're 3D puzzles.
And now here's a figure that I've heard happily termed as middle-aged Rodimus Prime.
Oh, yep,
Now,
that is Optimus Prime, but
now they're saying it's based on the comic book. That's why his face looks aged.
because robots age.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then again, I mean, robots don't grow, beards or goatees, but we've seen that also. So here's Hot Rod, pretty much standard, and then his chest opens up and has a space or a capsule, if you will, for the Matrix of Leadership. And here's him in vehicle mode. Now, I've heard a lot of people are upset because of the separation here on the tailpipes.
Yeah, there's a visible gap in the tailpipes that should be solid.
Right. And then one of the cool things comes with plenty of storage in his trailer. So you can fit like weapons or smaller pieces in there.
Cupcakes.
and and then it opens up like the G1 version and has a cannon. So Commander Class Rodimus Prime based on the comics. And he will be released in July, $49.99. I don't know. I prefer the movie version, the one that just came out. But again, like, just it's so tiny. And then we have Tricranius, $29.99, and he will be out in August. Comes with a ton of accessories, a lot of.
Those look like Marvel Legends blasts that they recycled.
They do. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they are. And
It looks
also
like it's a
comes.
merman sword.
Yeah. He also comes with a War of Cybertron trilogy box. And let's see here. $29.99, and he will be released in August. And now here's something that was really comic book inspired. Now, I haven't read any of the IDW comics, but Shattered Glass Blur. Now, from what I've heard, it's an alternate timeline story. So
Yeah,
Shattered.
I'm not up on the Transformers comic books as much.
Yeah, this one's based on the IDW comic, but it basically looks like like I said, the '86 movie version, just with a different head and color scheme.
Does he come with micro machines?
No, it's funny you said that because John, I don't want to butcher his name, Mosquito. He actually went on to my other podcast, the People of Eternia Facebook, and he left me a comment. I thought that was pretty cool. And speaking of cool stuff, Kevin Smith announced this incredibly detailed, incredibly lifelike RoboSyn Optimus Prime. Open for pre-order right now, $699. It transforms by itself.
Well,
It
you have to.
talks. I'm sorry?
I think you have to at least press a button. I mean, he's not sentient.
No. I believe you have to command him. Like, he yells, and I'm sure this is to the chagrin of every Transformers fan, but he says, Optimus Prime, convert. So I'm sure people are screaming out right now, Transformers don't convert, they transform.
Well, maybe it's a religious thing.
Well, possibly.
Maybe he's thinking about, like, embracing a different faith.
And you know what's funny? So I went to the website to check it out. It's the only item on Hasbro Pulse right now that has not sold out. So if you have 700 to burn, you may want a cool Optimus Prime that walks, talks, voiced by Peter Cullen, which was a very nice touch. And there's an app you can play with on this Optimus Prime to actually pose him the way you want him. So $700. And then the last announcement was Soundwave.
Ah, my favorite Transformer.
Now, let's see here. He is Kingdom Core Class Soundwave, and he comes with a small laser beak that fits right into his chest also. Let's see here. $9.99, and he will be released in the fall. And actually, I think I missed one. Here we go. This guy, RoboSyn. Oh, excuse me. No. This is Kingdom Core Class Dracodon. $9.99 and will be released in the fall. I have no idea. I've never seen this Transformer before. This is like the first time. I mean, it's interesting how they evolved into beast machines. But speaking of beast machines, they also announced more Dinobots at the end of the year. So hopefully we'll actually get more Dinobots besides the millions of Grimlock that we've seen.
Grimlock not happy about
that. And then, let's see here. And now moving on to Power Rangers. They really didn't do that many announcements with Power Rangers other than we're getting metallic Rangers. Now, the Pink Ranger's already been in this form, the metallic form, but now we're getting Billy, Aisha, the Yellow Ranger, and Rocky, the Red Ranger.
Have Tool will redeco.
Yeah, like I said, they're doing that same translucent, like glitteriness on all their figures now. And also
But what's going to
Adam.
catch, kids' attention in the toy?
Adam. And then Hasbro really pays attention to their comic fans because the Mighty Morphin Tyrannosaurus Sentry from the IDW comics is also a figure now for the Lightning collection.
I love how all 6-inch lines have their own name. The Lightning Collection, the Plasma Series, the Black.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I do believe this is with the exception of Billy, these Ranger figures are the first to have this second wave of Rangers. Like Adam took over as Black, Rocky took over as Red, and Aisha. Which leads us to G.I. Joe. Now, they've gone all in on this Snake Eyes movie, which will premiere, they've announced, July 23rd.
And that's what the, oh my gosh, now I'm butchering. What's the name of the G.I. Joe 6-inch line? That Revolution.
Classified.
Classified, yeah. It was supposed to be part of this movie line.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's been so hard to find, is because the movie line, because of COVID, got pushed out.
Right.
But the classic sculpted figures still shipped, but without a planogram spot at retail, that's why it's been so hard to find them, because they're an orphan SKU, more or less. They were supposed to be part of the planogram space for the Snake Eyes movie, which, as you said, they went all in, and there's a very robust line. And so Classified will now be a lot easier to find now that it has a proper home and not just one peg.
Wow. Well, that's good to know for G.I. Joe fans, because, that's the number one complaint between Classified and NECA. People can't seem to find these things. So here's Snake Eyes himself from the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins movie, 6-inch, and they're considered classified figures.
Yeah, I think they just sort of meshed what you would call classic style and then movie style, but they're all in the same line. Well, which is why the current classified stuff is so screwed up, because so much of it didn't ship.
So here's Storm Shadow. And then people are complaining. You can never please any toy fan.
Toy fans complain? What? Never heard.
Yeah, they don't like the white. It's more like a egg white or bone white.
Oh, it's frost all over again.
And then here's a Kiko. I believe she's supposed to be Snake Eyes' sister, if I got that right.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy.
And then here's the Baroness, who, I don't know, really doesn't look like the Baroness to me. And Scarlet. Scarlet came out really well.
Yeah, she looks nice. I like the hair.
Yeah, definitely. And that takes care of the adult collector. Now for kids, they get a whole different wave. So here's Scarlet. Storm Shadow.
This is still 6-inch.
Yes, still 6-inch. And the children's version, $9.99. As the Origins, right, the adult collector, $19.99. And these figures will be released in August.
There must be less articulation, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. These, yeah.
They're probably like the Avengers 6-inch figures that you put out for kids.
Gotcha. Now you see, this one looks more closer to Baroness than the adult line.
Yeah, this is a kind of a wait and see kind of thing. Was that Firefly?
No, this is Snake Eyes for kids.
That's Snake Eye. Oh, yeah. Crazy. With the blue, it threw me. He's got a blue visor for people listening at home.
Yeah, I guess it's to, differentiate though.
Yeah, it's to color differentiate for kids.
Right.
like Disco Skeletor.
Yeah, definitely. Then here's some troopers. There's a group scene. And now the cycles. Now Storm Shadow has one and Snake Eyes has one. Now there's a peg popping out, if you could see it right there. You're supposed to put the figure in like some kicking move. And if you press on the seat, the figure spins on the motorcycle.
Cool.
So
Now
they could battle.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's cool. That could be fun.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering how many kids are gonna hit themselves or their friends. Here's a 12-inch Snake Eyes for the movie. And the 12-inch will be $19.99. And lots of play features for children on the Snake Eyes line of toys. Here's a helmet and a glowing sword, or light up sword, excuse me. So,
Yep, all part of the planogram that was there to support Classified that never shipped.
so once the movie is out, then they shouldn't have any problems finding more classifieds. Then
I've been saying that for months, only on Spectra Creative, the YouTube channel. Self-plug number 3. Yeah, I know. I made a whole video about that. Like the reason they're hard to find, but once the movie hits, like they weren't supposed to exist without the movie. It was, like that. The movie was what gave them the retail space, and so now you take that away, and they're an orphan SKU. So it's like, of course, like especially the the stock person is going to have no idea where to put it because they can't find the rest of the toys. So they're just going to like throw it away. I mean, not away, but like sometimes that's why they don't get stocked because I don't think a lot of people realize that packaging is made like 70% for the stock person so that they could figure out where to put it.
Oh, okay. That's
like I worked in toy packaging for 2 years, and most of what you're doing is creating a line look not necessarily for the end user, but for the stocker, so that when they pull it out of the master carton, they can find where it's supposed to go. So when you're only shipping one SKU without the rest of the line, you have no idea where to put it.
Oh, interesting. And then we forgot to mention Fortnite.
Did we?
They just announced all theirs. I mean, I don't play personally, but people really enjoy this series. And in this line of figures will include Ripley, Chaos Agent Midas Rex, and Lynx. Now, something special with these figures, they're using pinless joints and photoreal tech to create them like their actual screen counterparts.
What Hasbro is doing with the pinless joints is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of complaints about pins and joints, and then a big complaint I've heard about Masters of the Universe Origins, the knees.
Yeah, the knees look a little like they all have natural like knee pads on or something.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. And then they're also coming out with deluxe figures like Meow Skulls.
I mean, I don't play Fortnite, but I gotta say, visually, like I love. They just are the coolest. They are so cool looking.
It is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and then they got the hamburger head guy, and they got. I mean, just like the craziest designs. I love it.
And then he comes with his own gym. It looks like
that is like. Gym. I'd almost want that just for the gym to like put He-Man on that bench.
Right?
Like that's cool.
And then here's Sky. She will also be a deluxe figure. And now here's something interesting. Luke Shark. He comes with he's basically a pinata. You can break him open and
that's crazy. Again, I don't play Fortnite, but like I love it. It's like so much. This is what toys are supposed to be.
Yes. Like, definitely.
Love it.
Although the shark reminds me of McFarlane's animal line, the 10 something.
Yeah, the cyber animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool. And then you can use them in a bunch of different ways.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Hopefully the line won't jump the shark.
Good one. Okay, so that about does it for this installment of the Toy Lines. I want to thank our special co-host, Scott Toy Guru Neitlich. If you're inclined, please do so. Log on to Spectre Creative YouTube channel. You're going to get a PhD in toys. I mean, he's being very modest, but if you want to know the ins and outs of the toy industry, watch his videos. And if you love He-Man, you're probably already watching it. I mean, it's great. He also has now you do some sort of script writing on your
Oh,
videos.
like professionally?
No, the doodles. Did I get
Oh,
that
oh,
right?
script like writing, like you're talking about doodling
Hier-
with
yeah, you're doing
like,
hieroglyphics.
yeah, that again, that started off just with the whole COVID board thing. So one of my hobbies for years has been Egyptology, and um, I learned how to write Middle Kingdom hieroglyphics.
Oh, cool.
And when I started doing that, I was looking for a YouTube video to teach me, and I couldn't find. There were like some overviews, but there wasn't anything that was like intensive. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So yeah, I think I'm up to episode like 66. I just
Wow.
recorded. So every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, there's another lesson. But I do highly recommend people start from lesson one because it does build. But yeah, I bring people through first how to draw all major 160 glyphs, and then now we're actually getting into sentence structure and verbs. So
Wow.
if you ever wanted to learn how to draw and or read and write hieroglyphics, it is a week by week lesson or guide, and I have like 400 people like watching episodes, which it's
That's
way
pretty
less than I have
cool.
watching the but yeah, I mean I consider it like my Sunday morning class. So it's up there too, and I try to make it funny and interesting, and I'll throw in pop culture references when I can, and doodling with purpose, because if you're sitting there in a meeting and you're bored to death and you're doodling, you might as well be doodling with purpose.
Definitely. So I want to give a thank you to Brian Salvatore for our intro and outro music. If you're in the market and you're looking for something, try hashtag collectors helping collectors on Twitter. They've been a big resource for finding and selling action figures that you can't find. Let's beat the scalpers. Collectors helping collectors. We are now on YouTube. Please subscribe, hit that bell, and tell a friend. Also, I want to give a shout out to two people that have recently joined our or have subscribed to us, K Dog and Mephisto Negative. So welcome. I hope you like what we're doing. Please join the conversation at toyspodcast@gmail.com. We are now on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Please enjoy our newest podcasts, Rocketeer Radio and People of Eternia. Now, if you haven't been watching Rocketeer or listening to Rocketeer Radio, you're doing yourself an injustice especially if you're a Rocketeer fan. Ian has been doing some amazing things. His season finale is coming up really soon. He has this incredible guest. You will not believe who he got. It's You want to stay tuned for that. April 6th launched our friend Rob McCallum's Kickstarter, Faking Filmation, the story of animation and the history of filmation, the struggle of James Talk's unofficial faker movie or episode. Please join them. Kickstarter is April 6th. If you're a He-Man fan, you're already into it, I'm sure, but please support them. Pixels Dan's book, The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, is coming out later this month. If you haven't purchased that, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go on to Amazon. If you don't want the compendium, just get his book. But if you do want the compendium, I believe it's available now at Big Bad Toy Store.
I got mine.
Follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram at Toylines, and Facebook at Toylines. Thank you again to Scott Neitlich. Scott, thank you so much for stepping in. Ian, hopefully he'll be here next week and we support him. So play with your toys.
Play with them all.
We'll see you next week.